Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
Joining you once again, and once again ready to kick it old school kung fu style here tonight.
You know, I have to ask, how long do you think of these punny intros that you do?
Sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes mere moments before we hit that record button.
Yeah, I think I know which one it was for today. Ryan Campbell is also with us again. Ryan Campbell getting a dose of kung fu theater. Not something that you normally get involved with, I would have to say.
Ha 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 ha! Yes, this is not very often, you beautiful bastards.
Wow, look at Ryan Campbell. He's trying to get some work.
I didn't know Michael Winslow was joining us tonight.
Yeah, he's good.
Why, look, over there. Ah, it's me. Oi, I'm from... Oi. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We don't know if your lips are matching since this is all audio.
I don't know. There's like 3 people in here with me. I want to know what you're talking about, Brain.
Okay.
These are my friends that are here.
Okay. You have no friends. Before we get into our special Kung Fu Theater edition of the Bulletproof Podcast, something we do here and there, not all the time, but you know what? Now that we've increased the schedule, you can throw one of these in every once in a while. But before we get into it, you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about bulletproofaction.com. There's been some stuff up there. Of course, there's always stuff up there. How about Prisoner of War, the brand new Scott Adkins movie? I reviewed that. Another brand new movie, or newish movie anyway, Ice Road Vengeance. There's not many ice roads, but there's plenty of vengeance.
And no, this is not the truckers show Run Amok.
No, this is a Liam Neeson.
No.
Once again. And
Toyman, he's not looking for laughs like in The Naked Gun.
No, he was looking for vengeance, which is always a pleasure. Toyman unearthed Terminator Woman for everyone's reading pleasure. Toyman.
Yep. New No Surrender Cinema just went up. Terminator Woman, aka Backlash, featuring Karen Shepard. Fans of Mission of Justice may remember her as Jeff Wincott's partner. But it also stars Jerry Trimble, a guy who I am a big fan of. We've talked about him on the podcast when we did the Full Contact episode. And of course, the original Tong Po, not the fake one from Kickboxer 4, but Michael Kesey as the villain and director of this film. This one fell by the wayside years ago, but there is a copy on Daily Motion right now. So please go read the review and or go check out the movie while you can.
I forgot that it was a New Image movie.
I did as well. I did not remember that myself.
So, I mean, once you realize where it was shot, it makes sense that it was, and they had a lot of the New Image cast of characters one would expect from their movies shot in South Africa. But yeah, that was a little interesting thing that I had forgotten about. And later on, as this drops, it will be the finale for Alien Earth. Ryan Campbell, I'm sure you are beyond excited for this.
I am, and it's going to be an interesting one. We had the classic penultimate episode where all the shit hit the fan, and now we're all set up nicely for a interesting finale. I don't know. I guess I haven't read too much into it, if they've already like greenlit a season 2, or if there's going to be a season 2, or how that's going to look. So kind of open to whatever may happen. Who will survive? What will happen? I'm excited for it. Also, Brain, we should be out now. We checked out One Battle After Another, which is the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie that came out last weekend. Getting insane reviews. Like 30 different places all gave it 10s out of 10s. But these are all like hoity-toity websites, Brain. They don't do action like we do action, like at our bread and butter. So what did we think about it? Go check out our review on the website.
And not to alarm anyone, but you may have also noticed a Chad Cruz review on the site. So things happen. Miracles can happen even when it's not Christmas time. So there you go.
Also, Brian, real quick, shout out to the YouTube page. If you guys are listening, go check out our YouTube page. Shit is going down in the YouTube world lately, Brain. Everyone's views are down. some of the largest channels on the site are putting out videos where they're like, something's happening. Nobody can figure out what the hell is going on with the algorithm right now. It seems to only want AI slop. So it's tough out there in the old YouTube world. So if you can go over, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe, all those things go a hell of a long way to helping us out. We certainly appreciate it.
What I was hoping you were about to say is that all like the big time channels were losing things, and for some reason we were getting a huge influx. But I guess I should have known better. So yeah,
no. I mean, we're not like
comment.
We're not seeing too big of a. I mean, we're treading water, but it's just YouTube's hard right now. So
I understand.
And if it hits us, like it'll hit us like a brick. So and then it's really hard to climb your way out of it when it just decides you're not worth anyone's time. So do us a solid. If you're a fan, want to support us. That's
obviously if you're listening, you must think we are worth your time, and we do appreciate that. You may appreciate this as well, everyone, because I told you last week I had an announcement for something coming to bulletproofaction.com next month. It is happening. It will be the week of October 6th through the 10th. It is the first annual Duty Palooza. We will be celebrating Michael Worth. No, we always celebrate Michael Worth. We're going to be celebrating Michael Dudikoff.
We're going to be dropping duties left and right that week,
It's going to be a duty every day.
There's going to be duty all over the place.
We are going to be so regular that you won't know what to say. But listen, it's going to be all Michael Dudikoff posts all week long.
We're going to be like that guy in The Substitute taking his fiber.
Right. Exactly. We will be that man. So yeah, get ready for that. And of course, we'll cover a Michael Dudikoff movie here on the podcast as well to celebrate Duty Palooza. All right, guys. I mentioned Michael Worth because he is such a aficionado of what we're about to talk about, the Kung Fu classics. And I know this is one of his personal favorites. It's one of my personal favorites. Toyman, have you seen the Thundering Mantis before?
I have seen the Thundering Mantis before. It has been a while. We were talking off air about Beardy, how I mentioned that, Beardy to you is akin to Barry Chan with me. I wouldn't call him an underground favorite. He certainly has a very prolific career, but I think, our fandom kind of stemmed from, just that great first impression, and then that led to us wanting more and more out of these people. So it was nice to kind of come back and see him in action because it's been a while. I usually go down that old school kung fu well quite a bit, but the beardy demographic has been all you. It's been all brain. So it was nice to return to this one.
Ryan Campbell, I don't think it's much of a gamble to say this was the first time you watched
Brain. I am a massive fan of the Mantis genre. Okay. The crippled Mantis, drunken Mantis.
Yeah.
Mantis meets Santa Claus. I have all of them, Brain. I watch this movie just about once a month, I would say. So
okay, well, very good. That's very surprising, and can't wait to get all your knowledge and insight as we go into this.
I mean, I was approached by the Chi Yu Kong fan club to kind of head up there to be on a chair on their board, but with my podcast duties and everything else going on, I respectfully had to decline.
That's interesting. All right, well, folks, yes, it is the Thundering Mantis from 1980. It opens up in classic Kung Fu movie style. We got the color backdrop, this one being a nice red backdrop. And Chris, we get to see the stars of the movie, the protagonists, showing off their fighting skills and athleticism.
It's always interesting watching some of these old movies. Usually films want to build up to that first fight, or you might even start with a fight just to get your familiarity going with some of the stars or, the setup. Some things might get lost in translation, but not when it comes to fists and feet flying. But here, you're just getting like a full-on demonstration. It's like, hey, you're going to see a lot of this, but, it's almost like a trailer before the film because you're actually seeing some incidents that happen over the course of the film.
Well, I almost read it like opening credits, but in a more visual storytelling way that people might grasp, like it's almost like here, the people you're going to watch in this know what they're doing. Here's like what you can expect. gaining credibility, similar to a movie we reviewed, I don't remember, weeks ago, that was putting up like the fight stats for the different kickboxers that were in the movie prior to any of the actors. Like that's what they were focused on first. That kind of reminded me of that. And it was kind of like, hey, look, this is a credible, good movie. Look at these people. Look what they can do. You're in good hands.
And here, thank you for that sponsorship. It should probably be noted here before we get too deep into it is that Leung Kar-Yan, who is also known as Beardy, not actually a martial artist, but you could show him the moves and he can do them. He can mimic them perfectly, as you could see in all of his movies. But yeah, that was always kind of the interesting thing about Beardy. He's almost like a savant. You just show him, he could do it. He could do the choreography perfectly.
I remember there was someone on the show Heroes in season 3, and that was her superpower. Like anything she saw, she could mimic. Because I'm pretty sure she stopped a robbery because she watched a Randy Orton match on the show and used some wrestling moves.
Use the arc, yeah, very interesting. But we do meet Beardy, who is playing Achi in this movie. He works as a fishmonger. Ryan Campbell, have you ever dreamt of being a fishmonger?
Often, whenever I'm in Seattle, I got to do the catch the fish in the newspaper bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long dream of mine, brain, but I just can't stand the smell. So I opt for playing video games where I'm a fishmonger.
That is indeed a drawback of the position, as is having a pain in the ass boss who's on his breathing down his neck constantly, always going to deduct this, deduct that. He sends Achi out for a delivery, and as Achi's out there doing his thing, he spots 3 members of that no good Jade Horse Gang shaking down a poor local merchant. Achi steps in. We get bastard number 1 of the movie, and there's plenty more to come.
Don't take a breath because we're about to get number 2 almost right away.
Right, and the trio takes he gets in. They get in a little scuffle. They leave, but they're like, we're going to tell our boss. But Achi, Chris, he's not scared of these guys.
No, and I mean, how can you be scared of the Jade Horse Gang? Like, they might as well be the Pink Pony Gang. Not a very intimidating name for this group of thugs.
Well, when they get back to their lair, they tell the underboss what happened. And since he's just the underboss, he's like, well, we got to wait till the chief returns. And yes, then we get our second bastard in there. But he's like, but in the meantime, where does this guy go to? Where does he learn his martial arts? Because they're quite good. All right, go to the school and tell his teacher that he's got to kick Achi out, or otherwise they're just going to kill everyone, tear the gym down to the ground. It's just not going to be a good time at that gym, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, they kind of have everybody by the balls in this small town, and Achi makes it back to his job, gets chewed out because he's supposed to make a delivery and didn't make a delivery, which in this movie, he's about 1 for 5 on his deliveries. So he's not the best delivery.
Yeah, he'd get a bad rating.
He would. It was kind of like when I got DoorDash the other night, and they dropped it off like 2 blocks away. And only to snap the picture of the emote. So I'm walking up and down the street trying to find it, and I had to report them and everything. But it was much like this. I hope they got deducted a whole day's pay for that.
Did you reach out to the Dasher and see if they had encountered the Jade Horse Gang?
I tried to call, but they didn't pick up. So maybe the Jade Horse Gang got them.
Could took their phone.
I honestly didn't consider that at the time. As someone who watches this movie monthly, you would think that would have came up to my mind.
Yeah, I think we're finding out there may be a lie in there somewhere. All right.
Well, the Jade Horse Gang also doesn't appear to be very smart, because if they're already impressed by Beardy's skill, what good is it going to do to have him kicked out of his school now? He's already an accomplished martial arts master.
You're right. Well, maybe they're just like, well, he's this good, we can't have him getting any better.
Yeah, but they also know, and it's a trope of these movies and anime. Admittedly, maybe I don't watch a lot of kung fu, but I watch a shit ton of anime. And there's enough similarities to know that you always have like the grunt level bosses of these gangs that really just get a tracksuit and can walk around the town and shake down old people for money. They're like the lowest level. So beating up a bunch of them isn't entirely impressive yet. They really need to see more of what this guy can do.
As an Italian who owns many tracksuits, Ryan Campbell, I am definitely not low level.
Thank you for that. Paulie Walnuts has joined us. Okay. Tired of his boss's shit, Chi decides, oh, you know what? Fine. You want to deduct from me? I'll deduct from you because we're going to have an impromptu sale of the century. It is the buy one, get one sale.
Oh, great. The ladies loved it.
Oh, they were. They were all over Beardy. And they were like, oh, is this good? Oh, yeah. And he's just dishing out the fish. But somebody is trying to take a much greater discount than buy one, get one. And it is our first chance to look at the kid played by Huang Ai Leung. And he's fishing right out of the barrel, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, he's going right to the source. He's cutting out the middleman, which is a pretty genius business practice. But yeah, he's just fishing them straight out of the barrel as Achi is distracted with the many women that are calling for fish, and
they want it.
He makes them the fatal mistake, brain, of not cutting his losses and getting out of there because he gets a good like 3 of them before he just keeps going back for more.
Yep.
And Achi finally sees it and plays some tricks on him.
And we get bastard number 3 and bastard number 4. And then the kid gives Achi this whole sob story that his parents are dead.
Oh.
Him and his sickly grandfather haven't eaten in days. There's a landlord threatening to kick him out. And he's like, yeah, you see that landlord. This is what he's wearing. This is what he does.
Oh, I hate landlords.
And I know you do. And then Achi's like, okay. Oh, he plays to he plays to it. And Chris, he lets him go.
Yeah, every reason that the kid gives, you just see his face just being like more and more saddened, more and more taken by the kid's story. And he's like, all right, just this once, like I get it. It's it's a sob story. Like go ahead. And as we are soon to see, he's more of a swindler than someone who's got an actual sob story.
I'm glad you brought up the face of Beardy. And how you could see the emotion and the acting and the change in him, unlike your moop-faced hero, Barry Chan, who looks the same no matter what the hell's going on. All right, but yes, Achi returns to his BOGO sale. The landlord shows up, but that's when we find out, wait a minute, the landlord is really the quote-unquote sickly grandfather, Ryan Campbell. This kid sold him a bill of goods in order to get free fish.
Oh, yeah. And this sickly grandfather is sick, but sick of his grandson's shit, pretty much. He's like, oh, he told you the story too. Oh, where is he at? And he's done dealing with all of his trickery. And Achi he questions him at first that he's lying about being the grandfather, but eventually does come around and point him in the right direction where he can get his unruly grandson.
Yeah, when he says only an idiot would believe that kid's story. The acting on Beardy's face. Wonderful.
I honestly feel like if I would have watched this movie in the original dub, I would have easily been able to follow what was going on. The body language acting, the facial expressions, the not to say that the plot isn't complex, but like I easily could have gathered what was going on, I feel like, if I would have just watched the dub.
Well, maybe we'll get a special edition of this somewhere down the road, and it'll have the original audio and the
Does the DVD version do like the constant flipping of like the color, like the camera, like the shot on a different camera, the colors, or was that just the YouTube version?
I'm thinking that might just be the YouTube version.
I know you said you had the DVD. I was wondering what.
Yeah, it was one I had first saw on Tubi, and it was one that I think I got. It's always good when I'm like maybe 15, 20 minutes into one of these and I'm looking if it's available somewhere to buy because I'm like, I need this. And
the best thing about them is they're usually pretty cheap.
Right.
I bet you I know that exact moment. It was the first time that Sanford and Son-esque music kicked in.
It could have.
That's when you immediately went to the Amazon machine to get the DVD.
I must own this. And it was, a nice remastered. I mean, again, I hope we get an even better quality down the road, but it's pretty good. The
DVD. I mean, my DVD copy's in storage, so I had to watch the YouTube version.
Yes.
But
yeah. Well, that's what's convenient about a lot of these classic kung fu's. If they're not on YouTube, they're probably on Tubi, and you
can they're just everywhere. Public domain is a beautiful thing.
They're everywhere indeed. So Achi's boss is like, he's got another delivery, and this time when Achi goes out, he spots the kid selling the very fish that he claimed were needed to feed him and his starving grandfather.
Dumbest thing, the kid's doing his own 2-for-1, and he's only got like 3 fish. How's that going to work out?
Yeah, well,
he's going to run out of stock pretty quick.
He surely will. And it's not long before the grandfather also catches up, and he just whoops his ass right in the street. That's like getting beat in the grocery store, basically.
Corporal punishment.
Indeed. And so he's like, all right, and he just drags him home, basically by the ear. Achi then gets word after that brouhaha on the street. One of his fellow students shows up as like, hey, teacher needs to see you immediately. And he goes over there and finds out he's going to be expelled. The teacher's daughter, Shulin, is all upset about this. You think she had a thing for Beardy, Ryan Campbell?
It seemed like, yeah, there was something going on. The way he responded, or his expressions when he sees her in the courtyard on the way in, like there is definitely a history there. They don't really go into it, but there's something there.
Okay, I would agree with you. And Achi's like, I'm sorry. I know I'm a hothead. I know I won't do it anymore. But teacher's like, no, you're out. As of tomorrow, you are not my student. Very harsh, but we'll, Shulin will come by a little bit later to explain. Achi then finds, as he goes back, he's got nothing else to do. There's a gathering on the street, Chris, and there's some street performers, and these street performers are none other than the kid and the grandfather.
Yeah, you would think that at this point they might have found a different area of town, or maybe this is just the main drag and this is the only place where they can make some money. But it seems like every time you turn around, it started with the fish, and now Beardy catches up to them again, and he is not on the good side of the grandfather, even though he has apparently taken a shine to the kid, despite being ripped off by him mere moments ago.
Yeah, they got a prime spot there at like the intersection of a few different crossways in this, what I have to imagine is a very small village. So, yeah, they're not going to give up a sweet spot like that.
No. And we get to see the kid and some of the amazing things that he could do. And the grandfather's all about because this is earning that money legitimately. He's putting on a show, doing some things that entertain people, and then they pass the collection plate around as street performers do. And that nasty Jade Horse Gang shows up to want to get their cut, and they take everything but one single coin.
Bastards.
Indeed, we get Bastard 5 and Bastard 6. Then they spot Achi, though, in amongst the crowd, and we get another fight with the grandfather trying to break it up.
Not just trying to break it up, but breaking it up in that super cool kung fu way that shows you like, ooh, they're like a master of the craft secretly.
Yeah, we know that he's got skills. And the kid then, Toyman, proposes a team up, but again, the grandfather steps in there. But I love this combination of the kid and Achi.
Yeah, it's a nice little odd couple. Like I said, Achi's taken a shine to the kid, and now the kid is trying to kind of stay on his good side, and the grandfather's the one that's like, no, like, we want no part of this. And, at this point, Achi is kind of like a kung fu orphan. He's got no school. The grandfather wants nothing to do with him. So, latching on to the kid and kind of being a mentor to the kid or a good example for the kid seems like it's good work for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of things, being that obviously he lives with a very strict grandfather that I'm guessing he knows what his grandfather is capable of, but kind of keeps the reins on it. So seeing Achi as someone that's like, he probably looks up to him in a way, or kind of like envies his freedom of being able to express his kung fu. And then also, him catching him with the fish and letting him go. So there's a little bit of like a sympathy angle there. So it definitely jives of why he sees or looks up to Achi in a way.
Yeah, he knows he has a good heart, for sure. And, I've likened this combination. They're like the kung fu version of Shabadoo and Boogaloo Shrimp.
Excellent reference.
They're very good, and they both have amazing physical skills, as we will continue to see. What we also continue to see is the Jade Horse Gang being pissed off about Chi. The underboss is, again, he's like, all right, we got to get this guy. I got an idea. We'll set a trap. We get our seventh bastard. Chi's boss is once again pissed and starts again talking about deductions. But to Chi's credit, I mean, he pulls the move, Ryan Campbell, that I think all of us wish we could do at some point in our working lives, where he threatens to quit and ends up with a freaking raise.
Oh, not just threatens to quit. He starts breaking shit, implying that he's going to beat his boss's ass. And
right.
Yeah, we're all living vicariously through Chi in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I would, oh man, Brain, I write for this website, and the things I would love to say and do to my boss there,
Right.
Oh,
you should tell him. You can't
Tell
deduct
him to shove it.
Yeah, you can't deduct anything from zero. I mean, or I guess he could charge you for writing.
Probably.
Like, yeah. Okay, I'll print that, but you send me $10.
Hey, space on the internet ain't cheap,
That is true. This is very true.
You want to express your ideas, you gotta pay.
Yeah. You want me to post that? You want that guy to post that? Yeah. Give me $10. Okay. This is where Shu Lin stops by. It's like, hey, my dad had to do what he had to do because these guys said they would kill us all. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm not mad.
That's a valid reason.
I'm a Chi. I'm good. And the kid pops up again in town. This time, though, he's there to get wine for his grandfather. And he manipulates a Chi, though, into like, hey, you should test my grandfather's kung fu. You should go back. You should do this. You should do that. He like gasses him up, Chris. And next thing you know, he's going in there and he's challenging a kung fu master.
Like he kind of like actually like swells his chest up a little bit and goes in there and starts shoving the grandfather around. Kind of like a little bit of a heelish move. Yep. And at one point, I think he even says, like, shut up, let's fight. And, he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to compromise. And the grandfather's like, all right. And not only does he fend him off, but also utilizes the pipe as a bit of a deflector, uses it as like a defense mechanism to block some of his blows. But it does not go well for our hero because pretty soon he's thwarted and he's run off and everybody kind of looks a little bit worse because the hero looks like an asshole and the grandfather is already an asshole and the kid looks like an asshole for trying to set it up. But I have a feeling that this bad little interaction is going to lead to good things for this trio.
Yeah, I like to imagine that a lot of these situations in movies like this, the master is well aware of what's going on and everything's kind of like a test. Like, maybe not to say that he like told his grandson to like lure him there, but like he knows that he's come there just to try to learn. And maybe he's putting him through his paces, give him a little seeing if he sticks around or how hard he really wants it, that kind of thing. I like to think that anyway.
Right. And the pipe gets the worst of it because it gets broken in half. We're up to 8, 9, and 10 bastards before this is all said and done. And then the grandfather punishes the kid by making him go up the pole and just hanging by his mouth.
Spinning around.
As grandparents ought to do back then,
Right. We go back to the fish market. Chi is practicing with a big ass fish and some empty buckets. He's just punching them in, kicking them. He's doing what he's
knocks his boss silly, gives him like a big red gash on his forehead.
It'd be like going to if you worked at a restaurant, and going to work early and your boss comes and you're just in the back room, just like breaking chairs, smashing buckets.
Right. Yeah.
Throwing around the meat.
Yep.
Yeah. Love it.
So then the Jade Horse, now we get to see this big plan that the underboss had. So the Jade Horse go to this guy. It's like, hey, go over there, tell him you need all this fish and you need it delivered to this place. Okay. And he's got this huge fish order. And Ryan Campbell, to your point, Chi didn't do a lot of these deliveries. This is the one he shouldn't have done.
Yeah. And unfortunately it's the one that he does, but as if inside those baskets of fish is the great Mon Calamari, Admiral Akbar himself. It's a trap, Brain.
It is indeed a trap, and when he gets to the delivery spot, it seems like nobody's there. So what the hell did they need all this fish for? And then suddenly all the Jade Horse guys start popping up and surrounding him. But before anything too drastic happens, Underboss is like, you know what? Why don't you join us? You're a great fighter. Why don't you join the Jade Horse Gang? But of course, Achi doesn't want any part of that. So we get Underboss versus Achi, and Chris, he uses some of the very techniques he saw the grandfather use against him.
Which is interesting as a character trait because he essentially got his ass kicked. Now, I'm not saying he couldn't pick up on stuff while he was actually fighting with the grandfather, but we mentioned how in real life, Beardy, he was a mimic. Like he picked up on these things. So it's almost like he kind of crossed over that real life trait into a character trait for Achi here. Like he was a quick learner, a mimic, whatever you want to say. So if he's mastering certain aspects of the Mantis combat this quickly, he could really be a force if he actually got properly trained by grandfather.
Art imitating life. You love to see it. We get to our 11th bastard. Once again, we go back. We see the kid still twirling. And the grandfather, he's pushing this kid hard, but obviously we know, Brian Campbell, that this kid really deserves it. Well, normally you'd be like, well, this kind of child, but you're like, no, this kid's a pain in the ass.
Not just that, but he's also, I mean, as we're going to see here in a little bit, he has a really tremendous fighting skill. So the combination of his fighting skill and his, ability to kind of sneak around and his ability to manipulate people, like that is a very dangerous collection of tools, brain. And if you don't nurture that kid right, you could
he could be a gang. He'll be in the gang.
I was gonna say he could lead the game if
right.
So I think he's taken the right approach when you have a kid with this much potential power in him.
Yeah, he'd probably have a cooler name than Jade Horse Gang. Toyman, I'll put you on the spot. What do you think if the kid went down the wrong path? What do you think his gang would be called?
You're putting me on the spot. I don't know.
Ready for
the Jade Mantis, I think would be the one.
That's true. Cooler. Yeah, this Mantis is just cooler in general.
Well, I mean, I would think that with how much effort he put into scamming for the fish, it would have to be something in regards to fish,
or something British, since they all have British accents for some reason. Not just British accents, like Monty Python, like backwoods of Cambridge, like I don't even know, like the hick version of British accent. That
I'm wondering if they just all get dubbed in England before they get distributed overseas to us.
Right. Yeah, there's.
I think there's a few people doing multiple voices too, because it seems.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like The Simpsons.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's been some stuff written about that, and it's definitely an interesting world. Because I'm just also interested in how did Bastard get into the script so many times.
Well, it's not just this. That's like a kung fu.
Right. That's
trope.
what
like they absolutely love that word.
That's what started the Count the Bastards list, because I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, they all have at least one or two in there. I wouldn't say all, but the vast majority have at least a couple in there. But I'm like, some of these go above and beyond.
Is it just a word that was socially acceptable or something they could get by with?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely one where you could definitely could fit in a PG movie if you wanted to get it out there and put it on, the Kung Fu theater wouldn't have to do anything to it.
Are they not saying the equivalent? Are they not saying the equivalent of bastard in the native language?
I don't know. That's another.
That's a good question.
I would think in the number one. I mean, the number one movie on my list is the movie called The Bastard.
The Bastard,
and it's certainly, he is a guy with he doesn't know who his parents are. So,
I wonder if they're using multiple different Chinese derogatory curse words or slurs that we just wouldn't understand. So they lazily were just just make them all bastard.
I mean, because sometimes you get the bastards, you get the son of a bitch, you get
this one had some bitches,
the fools, you get idiot. I mean, you get all kinds of it. But yeah, when Bastard just stands out to me, and I absolutely love it. I have a strange affinity for the word at this point in my life because I watch so many of these kung fu movies.
And to that point, though, like I was gonna say earlier, you don't know if these guys, like, you don't hear about any, fucking assholes or anything like that in some of these films. Like, there are a few where you might get like one asshole dropped, but it's very rare. So
Right.
it's almost like bastard is like the worst thing you could possibly say. So they're kind of keeping it safe, even though you do
Mm,
get some bloodshed in these films, language wise. Maybe it was just the same way that we were talking about like Mean Streets of Kung Fu, like, calling each other brother and sister. And, there's
right.
something lost in translation there. So maybe bastard is just kind of like the easy route to vulgarity.
Mean,
Hundan is the word.
yeah,
Bastard.
yeah. I've definitely heard that because some of them have been subtitled. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, Mean Streets of Kung Fu also on the Count the Bastards list. I believe it had
Ooh, it's a
14.
severe insult. The Mandarin word is used as a severe insult. While
Mm-hmm.
that's Wabadan, while a different version, Sishinzi, is a more literal old-fashioned term for an illegitimate child. So they actually have two different versions for.
Well, yeah, well, that makes sense too. Kind of like shit here. I mean, all our curse words can mean different things.
Bastard really, I mean, it means two things, but we don't have a separate pronunciation of it for
No, that's
if
true.
you are a bastard
Right.
child thing. Yeah.
Right. You're right.
Because English is actually a pretty terrible language compared
Right.
to many of
It's
the
very
others.
confusing to anyone who did not grow up. It's confusing to those who did grow up speaking English. But yeah, if you come from another country, it's like these words make no sense. So yeah, Achi shows up, and it's like, hey, I used some of that mantis fist that you used on me. And grandfather is offended, like, who are you to use my techniques? We get a 12th bastard. The grandfather kicks Achi's ass. The kid's stirring the pot again. We get 13, 14. And then Achi and the kid, all right, we're out of here. Those two again. What a combination. I love that combination.
Just a
I mean,
couple of stamps. And did grandfather trademark the Mantis style?
He did. Yeah.
I want to
I
see the
would say
paperwork on
too,
that.
though, but like using someone's style without their permission is like one of the
That's like
most.
using
That
a
is,
finisher and you using somebody else's
yeah,
finisher.
that's a good
You
one.
didn't ask.
Yeah, you didn't
That's
ask or
true.
they weren't taught the style or whatever. That is a huge slap in the face. So yeah, that he's lucky he didn't kill him right on the spot for doing that.
Whoa. It's time now, Toyman, to meet the real boss of the Jade Horse Gang. Shao Tees Tung, played by Eddie Ko. And what a grand entrance he gets. There's birds and shit involved.
Snatches them fuckers
Well,
right out of
there's
the
no
air.
shit. Yeah, we're still a few minutes away from the shit, but we get a very interesting entrance where he's working on his claw style by swatting pigeons out of the air and landing on his feet and tossing the final two down at his feet. So
Mhm.
we've already got animal cruelty in the first 5 seconds of meeting this guy. So yeah, he's definitely a bad guy.
He also just
Yeah.
has that look like there's just some sketchy shit on his computer, Like he just gives off that vibe.
Okay. All right. Maybe his
His
abacus.
very thick eyebrows as well. He looks like one of those Guess Who cards.
He does.
But one of the few times that we can do this is Eddie Ko in Lethal Weapon 4.
Right.
Yes.
And he was in The Martian. He's like the one person in this movie I kind of recognized.
Yeah, there you go. Eddie Ko.
Martian is a great movie. Very underrated, I think.
It is a good movie, yes.
Crossed over to the mainstream. So Shao learns that this Chi was using Mantis Fist, and he's like, Mantis Fist is the most powerful kung fu technique out there. But how does a fishmonger know this?
His interest is piqued, you might say.
So now it's like, okay, we got to follow this. We got to figure out what this guy's about. So the Jade Horse Gang is tailing Chi as he makes yet another delivery, or attempts to anyway. And Shao himself confronts Chi right in the street. Shao, though, kicks Chi's ass. Fortunately, Chi's old teacher shows up and says, hey, I didn't teach him that stuff, and don't kill the kid. And Chi limps off. He got his ass beat, though, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, but I have to imagine pretty quick into the fight, he probably realized like, oh, you're not the Mantis master. So he
Right.
probably wants to know who taught you that.
Right.
So that's really probably the only reason he let him live.
Right. Because he's got to figure that out. And he knew it wasn't the other teacher. And once again, we go back to the grandfather. The kid is he's constantly, he's like holding pots.
One on his head, one on each leg while he's squatting, and then
Mhm.
one in each hand.
Yeah.
So if you thought the Hindu squats in wrestling were bad, try doing what the kid's doing.
Right.
The best part about this though is he's whining and crying and then we learn after like he drops all the pots and whatever happens later that like he was even kind of playing up his grandfather throughout this entire thing. So like as we're watching him go through this strict, intense training / discipline, and like at the end of it, the kid's still like unfazed by it.
Yeah, he's good. That kid's good. Achi shows up, and he just barely gets onto like their property, and he just collapses. So the grandfather, who's at this point preached to the kid that you cannot be a con man, you cannot be stealing, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. It's like, you know what? You can do all those things that you need to do because we need to get this guy some medicine, and we have no freaking money for it. So the kid goes off to get the medicine, and he does the old, hey, pharmacist, your delivery boy fell off the bridge and died trick.
and
I mean, who amongst us haven't used that?
Not just that, you better go get the body or they're going to charge you for the funeral.
I absolutely love that moment. That poor pharmacist believes it all, hook, line, and sinker. So then the kids get.
It's too ridiculous to make up, right?
Right, exactly.
Nobody would do that.
The kid gets the medicine on the list, but then Toyman, he spots those Jade Horse bastards heading over to the local restaurant, and he decides he's going to get a little something else from the pharmacy.
Yeah, this is where we enter the heavy comedy portion of Kung Fu comedy. And I will say that while I was doing my rewatch of Thundering Mantis, Mrs. Toyman was in the vicinity, and she has grown accustomed to my love for these films. And there's a lot of action films that she's even taken a shine to. And I don't know if this was one of them because she was completely annoyed with the waiter shouting, "I got your soup here! Got your soap!" She's like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm tapping out on this one." And she probably did it. She probably did it just in time because we're about to get a laxative kung fu sequence. How many times can you say that one, kids? We've got 3 bad guys all fighting the urge to shit their pants while they're trying to fight a kid.
3 ninjas. Happens in 3 ninjas.
They stole it from here.
Yeah, by enough.
So yeah, these guys there's obviously only one lavatory in this establishment, and they're going back and forth. The pharmacist at this point, we catch up with him. He realizes he's been tricked. In fact, he sees his delivery boy, and then they rush back. We got the stomach issues. We got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 bastards during all of this.
What a run.
And then the pharmacist shows up and gets a fart to the face.
What a few minutes he got there.
Sophomore humor at its finest.
If this does not win you over,
And it's at a good spot in the movie. It's at that exact point when a lot of movies start kind of lulling a little bit,
Right.
Especially ones where they don't have a ton of locations and you keep going back to the same spots and it starts getting a little tiresome. Bam, let's just take a good 10 minutes and just go vaudevillian, hokey stuff and make everybody laugh. It's good.
Perfect.
And they also even speed up the sequence. It almost looks like the end of Benny Hill when everybody's running after each other as they try to get into the bathroom and they're tearing down the door and they're trying stumbling over each other as to who's going to be the first one to go take a dump.
Nothing like good old toilet humor to really up a film. So we go back to the grandfather. He tells him, as soon as you're better, you're out of here. But then Chi uses some reverse psychology. Ryan Campbell, and next thing you know, he's getting an invite. It's kind of like he used the same technique with his. Chi is a master negotiator.
He is, yeah. He's kind of that laughable kind of doesn't play the fool, but just plays kind of like the he reminds me a lot of Goku in ways that he kind of is this like idiot with a heart of gold, but kind of, Goku kind of does that multiple times. And for you Dragon Ball fans out there, where like meets somebody immensely stronger than him who has no interest in training him and somehow, convinces them to end up training him. So he kind of does that. And before we know it, they're all running bare ass into the ocean or to the, to the waterfall. And we get a nice training scene. And it's just a fun little moment with these like, hermit people that are like secret badasses, but don't want anything about it, don't want to flaunt it and everything like that. And we get some cool training montages with the kid and the grandpa and Achi, and it's a happy family brain that surely nothing's going to go wrong here.
And it's good that we had the skinny dipping after the 20th bastard, which was a cheeky bastard. So after that, they're training, and then once again they realize, wait a minute, where the hell's the kid? Where did he go off to?
And did he put his clothes back on?
Yes, he did, because we see him in town enjoying a meal, I would imagine at the same restaurant where he made people shit themselves. And we get our 21st bastard, and the Jade Horse Gang want this kid dead. In fact, I believe it's the 21st that's the little bastard who gave me the shits. Which is...
Quote of the film, folks.
Absolutely wonderful writing right there.
What a medium we analyze here.
And let's also note that the guys that he gave the shits to, it's not like he did it to the underboss or any of like anyone high up the food chain. These are basically like the three stooges of the gang. These are the guys that are taking like the dopey pratfalls and everything.
Right, the ones that just walk along the streets and yeah, like we were talking about earlier, that are kind of just the grunts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good enough to rough up your elderly shopkeep, but yeah.
Or your young kid.
Or attempt
most young kids, yes.
Beat up a kid. And the kid decides he's going to get drunk because he wants to do drunken Mantis Fist. And that doesn't work out too well for him, but a Chi shows up in time. We get Bastard 22. And, good thing for the kid that a Chi was there. And we go back. The grandfather, he's enjoying yet another swim.
Life is good right now. Achi's helping. His son is kind of finding his way. Maybe this is helping his grandson. Everything's going good, Brain.
And that is until the Jade Horse Gang shows up. And then it's a very lengthy fight between the grandfather and Shao.
Yeah, this was what we were kind of building up to. Like, obviously, we know that at some point Beardy's going to start seeking revenge on the gang for everything that they've done to him. But Shao was like, who taught him this? So it was only a matter of time before the bad guy had to prove, I'm the one and only master around here. I don't care about your mantis style. I'm superior. And that's what we get here. We get the veteran versus the up and comer. And as is the norm for well-booked situations like this, I'm sure you can attest to, the uprising heel gets the win.
Yep. For power scaling purposes, it was really important that after we saw grandfather kind of wipe the floor with Chi, that Shao goes over and really establishes that he's not just a creepy looking dude. He is a serious threat.
And he gets his finisher over with the claw to the throat. And then the irony comes in, Brian Campbell, because while the grandfather is being killed, Chi and the kid are in town buying him a new pipe.
Yeah, he feels bad about breaking the pipe in anger when he tried to fight him the first time. So it's a great opportunity to make do. Again, they're whistling like Whistle While You Work as they wander through the streets. Things are looking up, but a very dramatic moment when they get back to grandfather.
But before that, we find out the Jade Horse Gang is now going to Achi's place of work and trashing the fish market and roughing up his boss. And it's like, where is he? I don't know where he's at. He hasn't been here in days. And, so they're going after Achi from every angle. And then to what you just mentioned, Ryan, Achi and the kid they cut back. They're up on the bridge. They see dead grandfather and they just go... They lose it.
Yeah, we get a synchronized like jump off the bridge, land in the water,
slow motion.
Yeah, run. Maybe like one of the only like tracking them as they run through the scene there, and then just holding him in their hands, and the boy is so distraught, just yelling grandfather, that he like passes out and gets
he's
sick.
in shock. Yep.
Yeah.
So Achi's like, well, the only other place I know, I got to take him to my place. I live, at the fish market, basically. So he goes there. It's like, hey, I need you to help this kid. There's also the gang was here looking for you, but his boss, despite being a pain in the ass, is a good guy. And he's like, okay, I will help you out.
Well, also Achi's probably his only shot,
Right. He probably, he could have been the only one who put up with his bullshit all this time. So he's like, I better stick with this guy. So the boss goes to the pharmacy, and the Jade Horse Gang spot the boss leaving, and is like, wait a minute, are you not feeling? Oh yeah, I'm not feeling well. But they put 2 and 2 together. And he said it many times, Toyman, during the movie, but the boss kept telling Achi, you would be the death of me. And those words come true, unfortunately.
Yeah, another casualty in the life of our heroes' friendships and relationships. First, grandfather dies. First he was kicked out of his school because they were threatened with death. But then grandfather was actually killed right after he had warmed up to him. And now his boss, who's been kind of helping him along the way, even though, like you said, he was a pain in the ass. And that does not bode well for these bad guys.
No, because Achi shows up and he fights the gang once again, but Shao shows up and we get Shao versus Achi round 2. And this commotion, Ryan, wakes the kid up. He comes out of his catatonic state.
Yeah, he jumps right into the fray, doesn't even question it. So now he's trying to fight off some of the grunts while Achi takes on the head honcho. And unfortunately, they both take a beating and get knocked out, and they lose round 2.
Yeah, we got our final bastard of the movie, number 23, for those of you keeping score.
They don't have to. You keep score.
Exactly. Lazy bastards. Okay. Now they are both captured, they being Achi and the kid, and they're getting tortured. And
getting crucified.
Basically, yeah. The whip. They're hung. There's
the old when you pass out, they throw water on you to wake you up to beat the shit out of you some more.
They want you to feel it.
They take it way too far with the kid, and the kid is killed.
They went there. Movies don't like to go there anymore like that.
They went there.
To be fair, it was off screen though. It was implied. We know what happened, but
right. They do not. Yeah. They go off screen. We just see Achi's reaction to it. And then
do we ever?
This movie, which has been a very lighthearted movie throughout, we had, guys shitting themselves and all this and the music and all this and the fish and that. This movie takes a huge turn, Ryan Campbell, as Beardy Achi just fucking snaps.
Yeah, the mantis is unleashed. I don't know. I guess the assumption is that like that was in him all along, and this was the only way to get it to come out. But yeah, he doesn't just. This isn't just a snaps and then like beats the shit out of everyone. He goes like Super Saiyan and loses it, and his behavior, he's laughing in this weird maniacal laugh, but as he's like walking around like a mantis, and he just decimates everyone. Shao is shitting his pants now from fear at this crazy man that's killed like his entire army. And we get a very lengthy again fight scene, but a pretty amazing and satisfying one with moves that we haven't seen. This movie's had a lot of really cool moves, but man, they saved a lot of it for this end finale, and it was something.
And let's just specify that it's not just the adrenaline taking over, like, he's unleashing the power within him. This is like a full-blown,
this is like
a mental breakdown.
Right.
Like
this
he's
is
watched
like
all these people before him die, and the kid was the final straw.
This is like an entirely new personality has been unleashed inside of him. Yeah.
Like he goes cannibal at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost
he's like snapping people's ankles and ankle locks, and then just twirling their foot around.
So
there's still some humor in it, because again, it's like a Three Stooges thing where you keep twisting the foot or whatever. So there is some levity in it, but really, I mean, This is a man who's going through like a mental breakdown, just destroying everything in his path.
To be fair though, I mean, like you buy it, like when it happens, you're
Oh, for sure.
like, and maybe like if they don't kill the kid, it's not quite enough, but like, especially because they never really attack his school and like the woman, like they don't kill them, but the kid, you buy it. Like when that happens, after they just trotted through that town and have had this, bond, and you're thinking of all the potential this kid has, even when the grandfather died, you're like, well, he can still like avenge him, and then they go on to like carry on the legacy of the Mantis. No, all that is gone. Like he has nothing to live for now, and he's just destroying what's in front of him.
It's almost like this would be a villain origin story of like a Spider-Man or Batman villain. Like there was this guy,
like the head of like a Mantis gang, and this is how it happened. Yeah. There is a power vacuum now in that village, and he could just easily, fill in that spot.
He went too far, and he can't come back. So now he's just evil. But yeah, this is I think this is really what makes this movie so fantastic. Is it's so entertaining all the way up. I mean, and it's entertaining at the last 10 minutes, but that tonal change is just like it punches you right in the freaking face, and it's like, wow. I will never, there's so many of these movies, and I've watched a bazillion of them, but this one will forever and always stand out to me. Ryan Campbell, your thoughts on what may or may not have been your first time watching this movie?
Really enjoyed it. Again, it gave me a lot of parallels as someone who grew up and still watches Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Kai, like all the series, Dragon Ball Super. They also do a thing of levying like entire episodes that are like Goku trying to get his driver's license, and like just ridiculous side stories that take way too long. But then when those moments hit, when Krillin dies and Goku goes Super Saiyan, very similar to this, like that, it all just gets super serious. And this reminded me a lot of that, which I was perfect. I was right in on. I love the kind of hermit kung fu master trope that they play up in this. So lots of great moments. The even like we said, the vocal dub is absurd enough to just be hilarious every single time. The British accents, like I just enjoyed listening to them. It was just fun. So it's everything you love about kung fu. Amazing stunts, kind of comedic moments, both some intentional and some unintentional, and then shit gets real, and it's really impactful at the end.
Toyman.
This is one that I enjoy. Like I said, it had definitely been a while. The fight is definitely the most memorable part of the film, but that's not to detract from everything else. The story's good. Nothing gets lost in translation. I don't mean that as far as verbally, but sometimes there are these loose threads in these films, and you're just like, well, what happened to this guy? What happened to the girl that he was supposed to save? And this one, everything kind of got built up little by little, and then it all got tied together, and then the movie takes that left turn and you're like, well, holy shit, like, and then you look back on it because at the time when he snaps, you kind of see that flashback taking place, like, through his eyes of all these happy times. And it's like, wow, like this movie started off where this guy was just kind of like oh shucks, like Achi, like, there he goes again. And now at the end, he's just like this vicious killer that's been unleashed on the world.
Well, it's an interesting angle too, because they almost played up like he's going to learn the air of being like a hothead and become like the calm, cool master, like the grandfather was. Like that's where I thought they were going with it, and it really doesn't. Like that's who he like. That is what makes him the Mantis at the end. Is that need to protect,
That
but
temper.
also that temper is what unleashes that. And it's a nice turn. And I even the first time I watched it, Brain, many years ago. I remember thinking like it was all happening too fast, as it was as you start you've seen enough of these things that kind of you're starting to plot in your head where we're going next. And you're like, okay, he's going to go avenge the grandfather. And I'm thinking like, I don't really like that though, because like, obviously they've set this power scaling up. He needs more training. He can't just like will his way to beating Shao. But no, they convinced me of it. Like as that final fight was going on, I never once was like, this is bullshit. I was like, okay, yeah, you got me, movie. It worked it out.
Super motivated to do what he had to do there. Yeah, just wonderful. Definitely like top 5 maybe kung fu movies for me easily. Definitely top 10. And 23 Bastards makes it number 2 on the Count the Bastards list. You could check that out on bulletproofaction.com. You know what? I want to also tell you, everybody, about social media. Of course, I have to tell you about that because we want to know what you think about what we're doing on the site, what we're doing here on the podcast, suggestions. Tell us what you're watching. Tell us what you've added to your collection. You can do so on social media at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky and at Bulletproof Action on Facebook and Instagram. And you could also join the Facebook group as well. You just have 2 very easy questions to answer, and you'll be right in there with the rest of us. Ryan, you mentioned the YouTube channel earlier. We want to remind everybody about that.
Yes. We're in the trenches of YouTube. Go save us.
And now I think just as a programming note for everyone, if you enjoyed where we kind of had a couple weeks kind of in the same theme, you know, we did the kickboxer movies 3 in a row. We did back to school movies 3 in a row. If you enjoyed that, you might be disappointed in the next few weeks because we are going to be all over the place with these movies. And it's going to start next week, Chris, with, I know, one of your all-time favorites, the original.
I was going to say, next week we're going to take the podcast down to Tromaville.
Yeah.
Because we are going to look at the Trauma classic, the one that started it all, The Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, the OG Toxic Avenger, a movie that I know I have not seen probably since it was on cable late at night back in the
USA
80s.
Up All Night. There is actually a USA Up All Night broadcast of it on YouTube, I believe, because that is the one that I let Zach watch because I will not let him. I'm very liberal with what little Zach gets to see. He's watched a lot of R-rated stuff. We've gone and seen stuff like Deadpool and Wolverine and Bad Boys for Life in the theater, but yeah, this is one that I still think he needs a little while to. And it's amazing because it's a film that I first watched when I was like 6 or 7.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that guy just got his head crushed. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, if you could find a USA version, you can watch that one. And literally 2 minutes later, he's like, USA Up All Night, is that one safe? I'm like, yes. You can watch it with the benefit of having Rhonda Shear.
I was going to ask, was it a Rhonda or a Gilbert?
I believe it's a Rhonda, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's going to be the Toxic Avenger. And then the following week, I believe we will be into Duty Palooza, but I'm not positive on that. So we'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, next week we know for sure it is the Toxic Avenger, a very, very different movie than what we talked about today or have really talked about at any point in time.
The Toxic Bastard?
Oh, that'd be, yeah, see, there could be some bastards in there. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. So I'll be revisiting that one, and you can revisit with us next week. Anything else you want to say, Ryan Campbell?
No, like I said, Alien Earth finale on the site and the review for whatever the action theme movie I was talking about earlier was. The Leo movie. And yeah, thank you all for listening. We certainly appreciate you.
Toyman.
Please head over to bulletproofaction.com for the new No Surrender Cinema that as of this recording, it is fresh. It has just gone up on Terminator Woman. Again, it's a film that I had not watched in a while, but I'm glad I was able to go back to it and cover it for the site because it's one that I don't think gets talked about enough. And there will be another No Surrender Cinema coming within just days of this podcast posting. And Brain, I know that you suggested that maybe we go back to the old school Kung Fu style No Surrender Cinema and maybe do some Shaw Brothers.
It is Shawtember. I know a lot of our martial arts fanatics love to celebrate Shawtember every September. So yeah, that might be good. But you know, a Toyman also can he can swerve you at the last minute too. So best to just stay tuned to bulletproofaction.com to see what he's got cooked up for you. And again, Chad Cruz was on this. So, you know, again, you just got to go every day and check things out over there.
You never know what you're going to get.
You never do. Never do. All right, everyone. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me for this one of my favorites. It's been I feel like it's been a while since we've watch like one of my absolute like top favorites from a genre, but this definitely qualified. So I do want to thank you for joining me for that. And I want to thank everyone for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.